Hello everyone, this is Aaron with the Allosaurus Armament team. We're a small locally based company here in Calgary, Alberta doing online sales. We currently carry the Slip 2000 line of products, or as much as we can physically. We carry a lot of their products. This is our first YouTube video, so we're just going to go through a little walkthrough, talk-through on the different bolts and bolt carriers, how to oil them, how to lubricate them with our products. And then yeah, we won't be deassembling anything, though there's tons of YouTube videos out there of people doing those. But these are some of the more common non-restricted bolt and bolt carriers that you'll encounter in Canada. Before we begin, you can find all our company information in the links below. Facebook, we have a website, and now we've got a YouTube channel. So congratulations, you found us. So yeah, we're just gonna sort of get started and go from here. So a firearm common to many Canadians is the SKS type rifle. There's Russian made ones, Yugoslavian made ones, Chinese made ones. The bolts all look the same. This is as far down as you can field strip the bolt without hammering out any of the big portions. The big point on these ones, keep the bolt face clear of any dirt, debris, anything like that. You just want to make sure you can give it a shake. You just want to make sure your firing pin is moving so you don't get a slam fire out of it. And yeah, that's pretty much to it. In terms of lubrication, you're firing corrosive ammo, generally speaking, out of these types of firearms, 7.62 by 39. You want to clean the product, or well, clean the bolt using our Slip 2000 gun cleaner. It's water-based. Dissolve all the salts, get rid of that. And then after you've cleaned all the surfaces off with the cleaner, you'll want to lubricate it. So we carry four types of lubricants. Carry the gun lube, which is your generic kind of CLP kind of design of lubricant. It's great stuff, it works good. Then we kind of go into the EWL, so Extreme Weapons Lubricant line, which is really meant for semi-automatic firearms that are going to see a lot of rounds downrange. And then the EWL 30, which is heavier. So the way it's been described to me, it's like 30 weight engine oil, so it's a lot stickier, it's a lot tackier. And then we've got the grease, which is self-explanatory, it really sticks well to the rails. So on the SKS, some of the things you want to look out for is trying not to get too much oil, grease down the firing pin channel, and then making sure all the surfaces. So any surface that's going to have friction, you'll be able to see it by the wear. So in the video, you can kind of just see the wear patterns. So you just want to lightly cover that in oil, and yeah, anywhere that the pieces interact, for example. So you want to lubricate in here. And I'll do a full deassembly on the SKS, cleaning, lubrication, hopefully tomorrow. But yeah, you just want to give a good coat of oil on the bolt, because that's the majority of friction. The next most common firearm in Canada is the Ruger 1022. So you can see the bolt right here. It's very similar. So on all these bolts, I'll tell you just to make sure the bolt face is nice and clean. And then yeah, so very similar. So any surface that you're going to have friction, so the bottom piece here, just on the top rails here and here, you're just going to put a light film of lubricant. It doesn't really matter what you use as long as it's lubricated. On the sides, you just want to make sure there's a light coating on the sides. Nothing too heavy. On the tops here, just right there, and there, you want to lubricate as well. Just making sure that any surface bearing any surface coming in contact with another metal surface has some sort of lubrication in between it. Another common firearm in Canada is your VZ58 or CZ858. So this is the bolt carrier assembly. So if you take the bolt out, this is just the main bolt design. It actually breaks down into two pieces. So here you've got the main pivot point, which is right there. So you're going to have the surface that moves. So you're going to really want to make sure you lubricate there and there as well, as that surface moves. As well with this bolt, you just want to make sure it's lubricated along the bottom and along the rails, and then just along the top here. So it's fairly straightforward. So just wherever anything's sliding or moving. On the actual bolt carrier, what you want to look out for is you want to lubricate down these channels here and on the other side. So when it acts with the receiver, it can slide freely with that receiver. You also want to make sure there's a light amount of oil lubricant on this piece here, where it slides in and out because it's a striker fired firearm. And that's the entire assembly put together there, folks. So like I said, it's fairly simple. You're just lubricating where you can see, like where the metal's obviously been sliding, and where lubrication points are. So like I said, anywhere where there's friction. Alright, another common firearm in Canada is the Robinson Arms XCR. Great product. I own a couple of the rifles myself. This is the one for 5.56. But the bolt's a little different. So you take it apart just like that, it slides open. So on this one, where you want a majority of your lubrication, you're going to want to these bottom rails here. As that where it slides in the receiver. And then also you're going to want to lubricate right where the bolt moves, just like there. So it's kind of like an AR-15, so you're going to want to lubricate inside here as well, and just make sure it gets worked in really well. And then anywhere there's wear, so you can see a little bit of wear on the top here, and then on this other, oh, almost lost the bolt there, and then just on the other side as well. So you've got the Tavor X95 bolt carrier assembly. So what you're going to really want to watch for on this one is just lubricate along the bottom, the bolt carrier here, along the rails. Just in the rail here as well. And then you're going to want to make sure there's a little bit of lubricant just placed just inside there as well, so the bolt can move freely. And there's some lubrication. You can also lubricate the spring slightly, as that also counts as a moving part. And yeah, like I said, this stuff's very, very straightforward. Just sort of not going into much detail, just sort of showing you just the main points of where to lubricate. So, this is an AR-15 bolt. This one's built by BCM. Add this into a build, an Alberta Tactical Rifle Supply Modern Sporter. So that's where this one's going, so it's going to be non-restricted. So the AR-15 bolts are fairly straightforward. You're going to want to make sure this bottom bit's lubricated. Side rail here, the side rail opposite of that. Along the top, you're going to want to make sure this rail here is lubricated, and this one as well. On the other side, you're going to want to make sure the cam pin, it's right there, is lubricated, so when that moves you have some lubrication for it. And then also you can add a little bit of lubrication down in here as well, just to make sure that the bolt moves freely. The AR-15, it's slightly different than the rest of these bolts here, as it's direct impingement. So what that means is the gas is going through this tube, and that's what's moving the bolt back. So there's direct gas on this bolt, and that's really where Slip 2000 came in. Their Extreme Weapons Lube and Extreme Weapons Lube 30. They're heavier and they'll withstand the heat and pressure much better than any of the competitors. So yeah, for those of you using standard CLP, you'll notice the difference immediately when you switch to using EWL or EWL 30. Last but not least, folks, we have the Swiss Arms bolt and bolt carrier sort of assembly. These ones differ a little bit. Where you want to be lubricating on these bolts is just the top piece here. Just make sure that's slightly oiled. And then on the bottom here, you're going to want to make sure all these little rails have some sort of oil on them. And right there. Now, some people use grease. I've been using the EWL 30 actually for this application. But you're going to want to make sure the shaft of the bolt is lightly lubricated. And then there's this channel where the bolt moves, and you're going to want to make sure that's lubricated. Like I said, I use EWL 30 in it so it stays put. Some people use grease as well, so that's totally acceptable as well. In my book, it's just making sure everything's moving properly as it should. So this bolt's very similar to the or the bolt carrier. So I'm missing the bolt. Is very similar to the Swiss Arms bolt carrier. So this is the Swiss Arms one on my left, and on my right is a Famae bolt. So this was out of a Famae 540, which is non-restricted in Canada as well. It's very similar to the Swiss Arms in that the bolt sits in the exact same location. The only difference on this one is it's got a slight roller bearing right there on the top. I've added a little lubricant because that's just where it slides on the top of the receiver, and just gives it a little bit extra of, just helps it move. So I just lubricate that a little bit as well. So yeah, really that's the main. Those are sort of the main semi-automatic firearms in Canada. I know I'm missing a couple of them. I personally don't own them, but these are sort of the ones I own and the ones I look after a lot. And I can attest when I clean them, it makes it a lot easier when you're using a high quality lubricant to do that. So yeah, I hope everybody enjoyed this video, and check out the website down below in the comments. And yeah, we have a promo code as well. See if the camera can pick that up. But our promo code is SLIP10. You get 10% off the order. And if you're in Calgary, within Calgary city limits, we'll deliver it for free. But yeah, stay tuned for our next video, and thanks for watching.